Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to be going over the judicial hearing over the injunctions that these federal judges passing out, the most in history. I mean, President Trump, in his first term, had 64 injunctions. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's unbelievable. So we're going to go over a few of those. Plus, there was a meeting on should the should the taxpayers be paying for NPR and PBS? So we're going to go over that as well. Mr. Zig, how are you, Mister?
I'm doing good. Thomas, how you doing
I
today?
am doing fantastic.
You.
But so have you been doing any investigation on the judicial hearings and the stuff that's been going on?
I have not followed it.
You haven't?
Thomas, that close.
Yeah,
As close as you have.
it has been a crazy ride. I mean, Elon Musk said what I thought, well, why is it unconstitutional for Donald Trump to send back illegals, and it wasn't unconstitutional for Joe Biden to let them come in? That I don't get that. I don't understand that
Yeah.
at all. Any thoughts about that? You got anything? I mean, what's your
That's
thoughts
the way
about it?
Joe Biden did things. I mean, this is the way, you
But
know.
but it is in the Constitution that how to handle illegals coming through and the process that they got to go through. It doesn't say just open the floodgates and let them come
Well,
in.
no, yeah. I mean, there is a process to do this
Right,
legally,
right.
but and you can see today the difference
Yes.
of what's going on,
Of what's yes, exactly. I
and
mean,
how you can't support that is beyond me.
right.
I mean, if you're okay with just the hell with the borders and let them all in, then
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. If you want to do it that way, fine. Put them all in your
right.
neighborhood. Then could you just let them
Oh yeah, they're
all?
not going in
We'll
his
just bring them to
neighborhood.
your town, and
Yeah,
if you want to put up with them, go ahead. And
yeah.
I'm sure there's some hardworking people who are crossing the border who are looking for jobs, but you've got to filter out the criminals,
Right.
basically.
And the thing that gets me is that there is no one. Pam Bondi. I've yet to hear Pam Bondi saying we are going after Joe Biden for breaking the law of transporting, putting illegals on planes and flying them, and them not have any of the credentials.
Yeah.
No passports, no nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
Didn't have nothing. We're just going to stick you on a plane. We're going to fly you to New York or Minnesota, wherever.
No,
Nothing.
what Trump's doing now, he's trying to find these people who did come in illegally
Right.
and who are the criminals. Hopefully, those are the first ones they're going after. You
Right.
know, and and we've seen a few of them. I
Yeah.
mean,
It blows my mind that. And the other thing that I sat and I thought about and I pondered, I'm like, where where's the Democrats getting all these activist people to want to go in front of a judge and say, hey, this is unconstitutional that he's flying these people down to El Salvador to the prison. That's unconstitutional. Got to put a stop to it. You got a judge that says, okay, by God, we're
makes
put a
sense to
stop to it.
me. Yes.
Got a judge. I mean, at one time, I thought that the president of the United States was the most powerful man on earth. I mean, in our country, by far.
Yes.
But on earth, I thought he was the most powerful man on earth. And come to find out, no, he's not.
No. No.
No, no. If his last name is Trump, and you try to do something, bam, we're going to have to put
We're
an
going to shoot it
injunction.
down. We're going to shoot it down
Yeah,
as
you
fast as we
can't
can.
fire all of these people. Got to bring them back. You can't put a halt to monies going out to these frivolous places. You got to let that money go. You got to pay it out anyway. Judge says. I mean, so it's aggravating to think that 14 injunctions during Biden's term,
Mm-hmm.
and Trump had that in the month of February. You know, in the month of February, he had 14 injunctions on him,
That's
and you got to set back and you got to wait. Apparently, I mean, and now you got another judge that has jumped up and said, "Hey, you got all of those people that you took down to El Salvador. You had got to go get them and bring them
bring them
back,
back.
and bring them back."
What are we going to do with them? What are we going to do with them?
Oh no, they got to do due process here.
Oh,
Oh
I
yeah,
see.
yeah. They want them to
Oh,
have their
okay,
due
'cause
process.
that's the legal
You
way of
have
doing it. Yeah.
100,000 lawyers sitting here with nothing to do, so they can all get paid
Wow.
under the
Just,
under the table and paid for their services. Down there they can't. That's
can't do
all
it.
federal.
Click
stuff.
down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's run ass backwards, Thomas.
I
I'm sorry.
mean,
it really. I mean,
the judicial.
common sense.
Right.
You know, we talked about this was a common sense election. You know, think about what you're doing.
Right.
So you're basically supporting these people to bring them back.
Right.
And first off, they're not Americans.
So, but it doesn't say citizen. So that's the loophole.
I
that the
see what they're
lawyers
using.
have.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes total sense.
Yes.
It really does.
So if you make it here, now stop and think about this. You make it here, and just don't go through the legal process of getting to become a citizen. You just walk on across. You have more rights than American citizens do. Not only that, as an American citizen, if I need a lawyer, I've got to pay for one. I mean,
you do. Well, you could have a court-appointed one
well,
if
yes,
you can't afford
yes,
one,
yes,
sir.
yes,
I've heard that before.
That is true.
Okay.
Right, that is true. But yeah, they got more rights than what we do. They stop and think about this for a minute. They are living in high-rise motels that you and I in rooms that you and I couldn't afford.
Couldn't afford at all.
And the government is paying. Now I asked you, name me another country. What country can I go to, walk in illegally in that country, and be treated like I am Taylor Swift? Huh?
Well, first off, you don't look like her. Okay. Second off, no, I understand.
Yeah.
Tom, why do you think these people want to come here?
Right.
You're going to be treated like that? You know, the problem is they come here and then they think they want to live by their rules. They don't want to live the American way.
Right.
And we live by a set of rules in this and laws in this country.
Right.
These people come into the country, they're to hell with any law. They do whatever they want, you know, commit any crime they want. Because that's the way they lived in the country they came from.
Right.
And you just don't do that here. I mean, we all have to live under laws.
Right.
Or we've got anarchy everywhere. My God, if we didn't have laws in this country, it'd be total chaos, for Christ's sake. I mean, and you just can't have that.
No.
We're trying to, I guess, police that to a certain extent, where you just
And
cannot
it's
let
tough,
this.
yeah.
I mean, you know, they are catching, you know, gang members that are, you know, high up on the throne with these gangs that they're trying to get rid of and break them down and dissolve these groups.
Right.
Basically, and
yeah. So
and for you to bring them back and do, I mean, I don't know how you're against that.
Wow.
I mean, I understand they're standing behind the law of they have the right to, you know, have their
they'll
day
still
in,
have
day
those
in court.
rights in El Salvador.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
It's just that these lawyers here in America is not benefiting from it like
Right.
we want.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But I just.
But it brings on another question that I've asked
What's that?
myself, and I'll bring up here, is that is it just the Republican Party as a whole that I know Republicans, the Republican Party wants to sit back and say, well, Republican supporters don't get out and protest because they're working. They're working. They can't get out on a Monday morning and be out there protesting. Well, to that, I will say bullshit. And I don't know why that the Democrats have taken over activists that will come out and protest on anything, and the Republicans can't do a damn thing. Where were the activists when Joe Biden was breaking the Constitution? Yes, he was breaking the Constitution by allowing all them people. Where were the Republican activists picketing, saying this is against the law? Why wasn't there an injunction? And I could have sworn that there was an injunction by Texas that was going to put a stop, but boy, that went unheard. Never was it magnified like it is now with Donald Trump's injunctions. If it was an injunction to stop Joe Biden by the Republicans to allow to stop him from breaking the Constitution, boy, it was real low.
Yeah, you didn't hear about it.
Yeah,
you didn't hear about it at all. But back to your activists. I don't know. Republicans are just different. They'll just get up and go to work and work through it. And hopefully when the next election comes around, when it did, between Trump and Biden, Republicans stood up finally and got enough people to believe them that you can't let the Democrats run this country another 4 years.
Right.
Or we're going in the toilet the way it was going. But the Democratic activists, oh hell, Tom, I think most of these people are paid by someone.
Yeah.
To go out there and hold a sign. You go up and talk to them, randomly they'll talk to them. What are you protesting? Well, I'm not real sure. They'll ask them specific questions about what's going on.
Yeah.
I really have no opinion, and it makes me wonder, well, hell, you're just getting paid a couple $100 to come out here, stand in the street, and hold a sign. And chant something.
Right.
Well, shit. Hell, I'll do that for a Democrat if they're going to pay me some money.
And God knows there's no billionaires in the Republican Party.
Oh, God,
we have none.
Well,
we have none. I mean, that's a shame.
Yeah.
That's a crying shame.
Yeah. Well, they just don't.
We got to get billionaires in the Republican Party so that they can pay people to stand around. And, yeah.
But after a while, it looks like they're making fools of themselves standing out there. It really does. It almost reminds me of a circus that's gotten together.
But Zig, here's the point, that it is somehow the Democrats have made it look, or trying to make it look, worse on Donald Trump for getting rid of the illegals than they did Joe Biden bringing them in.
I know. That's amazing, isn't it? When you take a step back and look at it.
Yeah.
You go, can you explain to me how this is right? Then how you're more upset about getting rid of them than you are bringing them in. So you'd rather just open the border back up,
right,
and let them all in. 10,000 a day. Is that what you're into?
And the way these injunctions are working, then President Trump can't do a damn thing without. There was a video that I had seen to where there was 4 places in the wall that it opened. You could just down around San Diego.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Through that area there, and they could just walk in. So President Trump says those places right there are the first ones that he wants to patch up and put the wall up and stop that. So I asked you, what is stopping some wacko Democrat supporter from going and said, finding a wacko judge, said, hey, that's unconstitutional what he's doing, and that judge put a stop to it.
Puts a stop to it.
What's stopping that from happening?
Yeah, and the hole stays there, and they keep coming across
until he goes through the process.
Yes,
and that's what these even the
how fast the process goes.
Yeah,
it's.
Oh, you got to support the rule of law. The rule of law.
Yeah.
This is
that's
the
what
way
they lean on. Yeah. No, I know what you're saying.
And I don't understand why during Joe Biden's terms that 700 of these damn federal judges. And not a damn one of them put an injunction against Joe Biden to stop him from breaking the Constitution.
Yeah.
So here they're bitching about Donald Trump and his authority, that, saying it's unconstitutional when it's constitutional, and Joe's was constitutional and breaking the Constitution, and they just let it open up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's mind blowing.
Yeah.
And yet, no activists on
on the Republican side.
the Republican side to put a halt to this shit.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have any groups. Oh yeah, well yeah, you did have the Tea Party fighting within each other.
Yeah.
You know, the Republican Party. You know, hey, we want to take. You know, oh yeah, you got that.
Yeah.
But
they're going to fight. They're going to fight Tom, for 4 years, buddy. This is not going to end. It's not going to end.
No.
I mean, this is.
And the only reason is because he's an outsider.
Yes. And then when the midterms come, and if the Democrats gain control of the House or Senate, then nothing will get done.
Right.
Nothing will get done, and we'll all sit around
and just like at Wisconsin, how in the hell can you? You know, they knew, and Elon Musk was up there saying that, you know, once they redo the map, the election map, then there's not going to be a Republican out of Wisconsin. And yet they went and elected the Democrat anyway. Because they stick together. Unlike the Republican Party. Republican Party, you got so many damn rhinos in the Republican Party.
Yeah.
But they, you know, the Democrats, by God, you have to give it to the Democrats. I mean, by God, okay, everybody, we want you to say Donald Trump's a traitor. All over
there they
the
go.
news. God damn, everybody is.
Yes.
Donald Trump is a traitor.
Yes.
And,
well, when you control the news cycle, basically, still do. I mean, you can get your message out pretty easy,
right.
You know, and they can pile it on pretty fast when you've got 4 or 5 different channels who are totally against the president, no matter what he does. I don't care if inflation went down to 0.5%. They wouldn't pat him on the back for nothing. No. I mean, how many people are crossing the border now, Tom?
Oh God, it's a couple of.
They're probably looking for things to do down there, aren't they? The border people.
Yeah.
Border guards are like, well, hell, it sure has slowed down here.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, it's just unbelievable of how
you're right. You said it right. It's the outsider. It's Trump.
Right.
That's all it is.
That's
all
it is.
What are you going to do, Democrats, in 4 years?
Yeah.
Who are you going to blame next? The next Republican? Somehow you're not going to be able to pile on JD unless you're going to just tie him to Trump. You're going to tie everything to Trump. So that's how you're going to do that. I mean, and that's just.
He worked under Trump for 4 years.
Yeah. So why would you want that?
Right.
Yeah. You could write it right now. I mean, you know it's coming.
Yeah.
But
because if it would have been Grassley as president, being the career politician that he is, you know, I'm going brain dead on the senator
from where?
From Kentucky. That
Ron Paul.
Well, no, yeah. Well, go with Rand Paul. He's a career politician.
Yeah, yeah.
But the other dude.
It's the only guy I could think of.
Yeah.
From Kentucky.
Yeah. Damn it. The senior senator leader at one time.
Oh, not Mitch McConnell.
Mitch
McConnell. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. When you said senior, you threw me a bone there. I knew.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mitch Senator.
God bless
but
him.
Yeah, I mean, if any of those guys were running, if they were in that spot right now, you would not hear. Oh, you might hear a little twickle about,
this or that.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
But
and of course, I guess that some of it is like he invoked that 1798 rule on and law to where he could deem these people as terrorists and then deport them without due process or something.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm still a little irritated over the due process part of it.
Yeah,
I
understand it. I understand it. Yeah. They're just hiding
You're
behind the
illegal.
They're hiding behind the Constitution, basically. I mean, and that's fine. That's what they do.
Yeah. Well, and two, I mean, the lawyers have to have some way of making money.
Making money.
Yeah.
Sure.
Can't just put them out there and hope like hell somebody comes at them. Hey, I got a lawsuit. know, they got to appoint them some way and get them some type of work. You know, that's like whenever they are. It's funny too that we were just talking, or they were just going through balancing the budget and getting not having the government shut down and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's funny how the shutdown will interfere with the military. Those guys won't get paid until the government gets back up and running. The forest rangers and parks being closed
Parks,
and no
national parks being affected, and
it
affects
affects all them people. Look at all the people that this affects, and then you say, well, why doesn't it affect the Congress? Why does it not affect the Supreme Court justices? Why aren't they not getting paid until this? Oh, no, that's a law. We're just following the law. We're just following the law of why we get paid. That's all we're doing. We're just following the law. Yeah, the law that you created.
It's good to follow
to
the law.
put yourself out of that and put yourself above everybody else.
Yeah.
And yet here's the American people. They're not like, well, wait a minute. Why is that? Why is that?
Why aren't you questioning that? Yeah, exactly.
And hey, guess what? We'll vote you right back in. We'll vote you right back in. And we have. And we do.
Yeah.
Illinois, here in Illinois, we're just stuck with Durbin and Duckworth.
Yeah. We're guilty.
Duckworth will be in there till the day she dies.
Yes. You see Tammy Duckworth now?
Yep.
30 years, you will see Tammy Duckworth look like Pelosi.
Yeah.
She's going to look the same way.
Yeah.
And it's a good gig. Obviously, It's a good gig. Because some of them are coming out of Congress with a boatload of money. Okay? And I don't know where the hell else they're working to make that money.
They're not.
No, they're not. You're right. So
they're not.
It's coming from somewhere.
Well, like I said, somebody said on Facebook about it, and I said, well, they don't know where they're getting the money. And I said, well, one place is that it's illegal for me to insider trade, but it's not illegal for Nancy Pelosi. And by God, they're taking advantage of it at every turn.
Yeah. So
that's how they come out with so much money, or a lot of it anyway.
Yeah. Well,
like some of
it's a good gig if you can get it.
Oh yeah,
you can get it done.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, it's crazy, and yet the American people, we just sat back and your senator sucks, but mine doesn't, so I'm going to reelect him again. Dick Durbin has been in Washington, D.C. since Ronald Reagan's presidency.
Think about that. Yeah.
Ronald Reagan was president when Dick Durbin first went to Washington, D.C., was elected to Congress, and has not left at all.
And we have a governor who's eyeing the next presidential race. And just to let you know, Illinois is now the highest taxed state in America. And this man is running our state. So you have to think about that.
We passed California?
Yes, we are now the highest taxed state in the country. So think about that before you vote for him in three and a half years. Democrats. Think about that.
Democrats ain't going to worry about that.
I hope not. But,
they're not going to worry about that.
No, they're going to put an AOC up there, aren't they? To run.
Yeah. How does she get reelected?
They love her. They just love her. She's just a pistol to listen to. She really is.
I'm thinking about going and moving to her district, because I would be a fucking genius in that damn district with all the dumb people that live there. I would be a freaking genius.
They love her. I'm telling you, there's something about her charisma, charm, that I don't know what she's talking about half the time. I don't think she does. But boy, she can deliver it. She can deliver a speech, and now she's hanging with Bernie, and they're like on their little rock tour now. Her and Bernie are going from town to town, and she's setting herself up for something. Either that, or for what's his name, Chuck. Chuck's on his way out, pretty sure. Schumer.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, New Yorkers are just like Californians. Look what they did to Shifty Schiff.
Yeah.
They promoted him after knowing that the son of a bitch was lying that whole time.
Still
Lying, and they said, here, me and Cheryl was talking, and I said, could you imagine? Now, just imagine this for a minute. Bring back the founding fathers and let them see what is going on in politics today.
Oh my God!
Well, that would kill them. That right there would kill them.
I would love to hear their opinion.
Yeah,
really, and hopefully people would listen to them.
Yeah,
God knows they're not listening to anybody else. But,
wow, because back then that's how tariffs was the way Americans made their money. Was no tax.
Right.
Was no tax.
Was no tax. Yes.
No. Was no taxes on people. It was tariffs.
We're going back. We're going back to that though. We're ending tax on Social Security, on tips. So we're kind of
overtime.
We're kind of going back to that, and then we're putting in tariffs.
Right.
So we are kind of repeating history, sort of.
Trying to, yeah. Yeah.
But it's the same argument as, do people understand what tariffs are?
Yeah.
For one thing.
I don't know. I just don't know.
I don't know if they take 2 minutes to sit down and think about actually what Trump is trying to do. And it's, like somebody said, it's a bargaining chip. This isn't set in stone. Oh, we're going to tariff everybody, and this will be the end. And this, he's negotiating deals with. He's a businessman. That's what he does. He's done it his whole life. We're not used to having a businessman as the president.
Right.
Okay. Plus, he has a pulse compared to the last one. Let's just put that out there.
Yeah.
We see him every day. He talks to the American people every day, whether you like him or not. The other guy, you didn't know. Well, you didn't know who was running the country.
No. And now even the Democrats now are. Wait a minute. Who was
running?
Yeah.
Who was making the decisions?
When he was running for re-election, they didn't give a fuck.
No.
We don't care.
Yes.
As long as he beats Donald Trump, we don't care.
We don't care. Yes.
Yeah.
But
now that he's out and it's all the way it's who was running?
Who was running, and who made the decisions that failed?
And Republicans knew this 2 years.
Yeah.
Or probably a year after he was elected president.
Well,
that there was something wrong.
Yeah, but you didn't want to come out before the debate. You didn't want to come out and say he's incompetent to run the country, because you don't really have any proof. You could say, oh, well, look at him. He stumbles. He trips. He looks like he's lost.
Falls off bikes.
Yeah, he looks like he's lost half the time, but people would kind of laugh at it. But then when you saw him live in the debate, staring off into space half the time, you knew they couldn't hide it no more. That he was.
Now the books are coming out.
I know. Yeah,
and
I'm going to get one of them. I don't know which one I'm going to get. I don't know how true some of them are. Yeah. How books could be, but.
What did they say, that there was one time that he was talking to one of the like NATO or something, and that during the negotiations or the talks, he just stood up and went over, sat down by the pool. It was set by the swimming pool.
Oh my God!
Yeah, and then there was the G6 summit was going on, and they said something like, and I don't know if NATO or something, and they said that you would have thought that Joe Biden was running for president of NATO the way he was acting,
really?
and the things that he was saying.
Yeah. It's sad. Yeah. It's sad when you look back.
What is sad is that the people that seen this, and now trying to profit off of it.
Oh yeah,
that is sad.
It's all about the money.
Them
Tom.
people.
It's always about the money, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a good book out there.
You want to weaponize the FBI in a good way? Come knocking on their fucking door and say, we got questions for you. Yeah. That's weaponizing the FBI in a good way. So, but yeah, it's
kind of funny how they draw Obama into this. And George Clooney, of all people. I didn't know George Clooney had that much authority.
Wasn't
over
his
things
dad?
and
Yeah.
influence. He got more influence than I thought he did.
Well, yeah.
My God,
Living
maybe,
over in Paris.
maybe he's was running the country for all I know. He seemed to be
could,
calling the shots.
Yeah.
Of course, when you have your wife sitting in on you at your cabinet meeting,
Yeah.
it's not a good look.
No.
Okay, I mean, just if that's what you were for, then God bless you.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I don't agree with everything Trump does, but you know
I mean,
what?
do you think he's going to get off on a technicality about that auto sign?
Yeah.
Because they said that those
Oh.
are not binding. That all them pardons, they're not
really?
binding because they were all auto signed.
Oh my God.
So now they're if they come off the table, then guess what? They're going after them.
Wow.
Yeah. And they should. They
Yeah.
should still go after them.
They should. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
pardon or not.
Yeah. I agree.
But the Republicans, oh God, we're much professional.
Tom,
that.
we have a heart.
We
have
don't.
a heart.
We don't want to get in tit for tat.
Yeah.
We want to sit around and bitch. We want to bitch about the educational system. And yet, there's something we can do about it, or at least, try to do about it. And we're not going to change. I mean, right now, and Donald Trump is doing it with some until some woke judge injunction, you cannot stop the payments of federal money going to these colleges. You got to give the Columbia their $400 million. You can't do that.
Well, see,
and why doesn't? I mean, it's get to the point where people. I mean, the Democrats don't get tired of it because the fucking Republicans don't do anything. They don't put the injunctions. We showed that.
Yeah,
we showed that through Biden's administration.
No.
We don't throw injunctions out.
No.
On every damn
Go
to the Republican side judges and say, hey.
If you don't have no pushback, the Democrats have their way of doing things. And well, at least you did learn that judges are more powerful than you thought the most powerful.
Man, what?
Yeah, he is not the most powerful. The judges are.
The rule of law.
The rule of law, yes. So
I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't realize that neither. But yeah, the judge is in charge.
Right. Yeah.
Basically.
Any judge wants to go.
Yeah.
Plus, they were talking on some of the stuff that I've seen that they should be putting bonds up on this stuff, and that's gone through the wayside. They don't do those anymore. And a universal injunction.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand how. And I heard one guy say that Congress was the one that created this judge, this level of judges. They were the ones that done it. But it wasn't. Now all of a sudden, oh, well, we didn't dot our I's and cross our T's because we didn't think that it was going to go down this road, But now that it is, now we need to rein it in. And so it's just, I don't know. I mean, it's going to get to the point that, it would get to the point if it was on the other foot where it was Republicans doing these injunctions to a Democrat. Then the Democrat would eventually just say, we've got an injunction that you're breaking the Constitution by allowing these illegals, just open the floodgates and allowing them to come in without due process. Democrat just going to say, we're not following that law. It's unconstitutional for you to even bring that up, which, I know that there is some kickback on Trump's cabinet that is saying, it's unconstitutional for a judge to step in and tell the president of the United States that you can't cut the Department of Education. That you got to start paying these people. You can't stop payments of, it's just getting crazy. Crazy is what it's to get. So, but it's eventually going to get to where, the rule of law is going to be, because there's no one above the law except for the people that are in Washington, D.C.,
that are making the laws.
That's making the
remember
laws.
that.
Yeah. Just remember most of these guys are still there that said Obamacare is good for you, but not for
Not for
me.
me.
I've got my own stuff. I'm not giving up my perks,
Yes,
benefits.
exactly.
Obamacare is for you. That's when I thought that January 6th would have happened.
Oh yeah, people would have
Stormed the fucking
and said, "Wait a
Capitol
minute,
and
yeah,
said, what the hell? Get all of them out.
yeah."
But no, okay. Which is funny that we can't, 25 million Americans don't have insurance. So our way of combating that and bringing that to a halt is that they can't afford the insurance, so now we're going to tax them. Make them. Yeah. Hell yeah. You betcha.
Oh my God.
That's a way to put an end to them. Oh, damn.
Damn, that kind of act, I think you need to be in Congress, my golly. Because you did that very well. We'll just tax them.
We'll just tax the piss
Can
out
you
of them.
imagine some of
Yeah.
the meetings?
And then what really got you is that Obama says, it's not a tax. It's not a tax. Justice Roberts says, well, since it's a tax, yeah, it's a law. It's going into effect since it's a tax. Well, what the hell? What the hell's going on here? But any rate, there again, Republicans drop the ball. They're good at that. That's one thing you can count on a Republican to do is drop the freaking ball every time. Every time. Boy, they're good. They're good talkers. You'll see.
Yeah.
You'll see one here. He's a good talker, but boy, it doesn't bother him to drop the ball every chance he gets. So let's go. The Senate had a judiciary committee on these judges and the universal injunctions that they are giving out. And here's Ted Cruz talking about it a little bit. So let's take a listen to what he's saying.
Thank you, Senator Whitehouse. Senator Cruz.
It's long been said that hypocrisy is the tribute that vice pays to virtue. I have to admit I'm enjoying listening to my Democrat colleagues suddenly discover the virtues of the rule of law after 4 years where they brazenly supported the most lawless Department of Justice and the most politically weaponized Department of Justice our nation has ever seen. We just heard the senator from Rhode Island talk about the imperative of protecting judges. And yet not a single Democrat senator cared about the violent protesters that showed up outside Supreme Court justices' homes, including, I might note, female justices like Justice Amy Coney Barrett, threatening their family, and Joe Biden's attorney general didn't do a damn thing and refused to enforce the law to protect those judges. Why? Because he agreed with the violent protesters and he wanted to intimidate and threaten those judges. Professor Bray, under our Constitution, who should decide elections, the voters or unelected judges?
The voters are the ones who should vote in the election according to the laws, and the laws sometimes have to be applied by the judges if there are cases.
And under our Constitution, who is charged with making policy decisions, elected representatives elected by the people or unelected federal judges?
I think the question of policy, Senator, is a little broader than the particular case. So the laws should be enacted by Congress. That's where the fountain of law.
Policy decisions are the elected branches.
Right.
Law is the province of the court. Policy is the province of the elected branches. These are not complicated. Professor Bray, let me ask you this. Do the federal courts have power to issue remedies for people who are not parties to a case?
That's a question I agree is not complicated. They do not have that power.
Is the phrase nationwide injunction or universal injunction found anywhere in the Constitution?
It is not.
First chart. In the first 150 years of our republic, how many nationwide injunctions were issued?
My view is that there were not any until 1963.
0. Now fast forward. How many nationwide injunctions were issued in the entire 20th century?
It's a small number. I would think it would be a dozen, give or take. It's not large.
27, actually. Excluding Trump's first term, how many nationwide injunctions were issued in the last 20 years?
Far more than that.
32. From 2001 to 2024 against Biden, Obama, and Bush, 32. And how many nationwide injunctions have been issued in the last 2 months alone?
There have been quite a few.
37. Let that sink in. There have been more nationwide injunctions in the past 2 months against President Trump than in the entire 20th century. There have been more nationwide injunctions against President Trump in the last 2 months than both terms of George W. Bush, both terms of Barack Obama, and Joe Biden's term. We saw during the Biden presidency lawfare, indicting President Trump 4 times, using the machinery of justice to attack him, and that was an attack on democracy, because Democrats today hate democracy. Democrats today are angry at the voters for re-electing Donald Trump and electing a Republican Senate and a Republican House, and they engaged in lawfare to stop democracy from operating. Understand, this is the second phase of lawfare. Second chart. This is the second phase of lawfare. Now that their efforts to indict President Trump and stop the voters from re-electing him have failed, they're going and seeking out individual radical judges to try to shut down policies, and they are forum shopping like crazy. Give me any loon judge put on the bench by Obama or Biden who disagrees with a policy. We just saw a judge flagrantly ignore U.S. immigration law concerning TPS being revoked. U.S. law explicitly said there's no judicial review for that, but hey, they found a judge who says, you know what? We, the Democrat Party, we are the party of illegal aliens. We are the party of murderers and rapists and gang members, and the Democrat Party exists here to fight to keep murderers and rapists and gang members in your communities. There's a reason the Democrat Party is at 26% approval nationwide, because they put radical policies ahead of rule of law.
And they keep getting
Nationwide
reelected.
injunctions are an abuse of power. It is the judiciary acting as policy deciders, and it is incumbent on this committee and this body to rein in the abuse of power from these unelected radical judges who are trying to overturn the election because they disagree with what the voters decided.
Thank you, Senator Cruz.
So why don't they just, no, you do not have a constitutional right to tell me I can't deport illegal aliens. So the hell with you. Just the hell with them.
Yeah.
And that's, see, but they're afraid, and the Republicans as well. Well, if you do that, then the rule of law is going to be broken. And then all hell's going to break loose. So we gotta go with, write this out. Well, while I'm writing this out, all this shit, I could have all these people gone. I could do, So, but Ted Cruz, I mean, he's a big talker, but
But he made some good points.
he made.
I mean, he really did. I had not seen this. I mean, that.
Yeah.
It's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. The numbers are there, and you have to question what's going on here.
Exactly.
Don't you?
Exactly.
I mean, you really have to.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
Democrats have found a way to fight Trump, basically
Oh,
through these judges.
Right.
Basically.
And the Democrat, see, that's the thing about and that should make every American, Democrat or Republican, worried that the Democrat Party says, well, that's because Donald Trump is breaking the law. But we know Joe Biden did, and there wasn't no injunction at all that I know of. I mean, he had 14 in his 4 years, 14 injunctions. And if there was one on allowing them illegals to come into this country, unvetted, just opening the flood and flying them. Hell, we gonna get you and bring you in. Fly you in.
Yeah.
And yet nothing was said. No Republican activist group was, it's against the law. It's unconstitutional for him to do that. None.
Why do you think they did that? Left the border open. Do you think it was?
Oh, well.
Do you think they'd get more voters Do you think
Yes,
that
and
would help
that's-
them win the election?
That's what
Basically.
it is. That's
Is that
what
what-
it is. Because I mean, did you see the part with Elon Musk and that one guy that was talking about the Social Security?
Yeah.
You seen that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the reason. Because once you get a Social Security card or number, then whoo, buddy, all good things
Happen.
are waiting for
Good
you.
for you. Yeah.
Yes, and that's one of, well, you can't go to a voter and say well, hey, that's an illegal. Oh, he's got a Social Security number. Oh, okay.
Oh, he
Well,
must
yeah.
be legally here
Okay,
then.
so
Okay,
he
yeah,
got-
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But
Yeah.
yeah, that must have been what they wanted to do,
That's
So-
exactly what they wanted
and
to
it
do.
backfired on them.
Right.
I mean, it really did.
Well, not
What do you think
yet.
about
Not yet, because
Well, they didn't win
What?
the past election.
14 million of them come into the country. How the hell are you going to get all 14 million of them out before the next election in 4 years?
It's going to be tough.
Going to be tough.
It's going to be tough.
Yes.
Yeah, and we'll
Yep.
see. Well, even at the midterms.
Yeah.
How they go.
Right. And that's funny. I mean, you say 26% of approval rating, but yet they keep getting elected.
Some do.
You
Some
can-
did. Not
you
all
can-
of them, Thomas.
yeah.
The big one didn't. Thank God.
who?
The president.
Oh, well,
You
yeah.
know, thank God. I mean,
But she still had
I know.
72 million.
only because it was Trump.
Yeah.
They didn't vote for her. They voted against Trump. Got to remember that. She didn't have no.
Yeah.
She didn't have no policy. What was there to vote on?
But 72 million people couldn't see. Don't you just stay at home?
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, don't you just stay at home
Yeah,
if you're
there's-
like, I don't like Trump and I don't like what but I'm gonna vote for her anyway.
Yeah.
Screw
Lesser of
that.
two evils. Lesser
Yeah.
of two evils. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of hate in the country for Trump. There's a
Oh.
ton out there.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that. Wait a minute. I could just imagine myself being a Democrat. Wait a minute, Donald. You're putting me above everybody else. You're looking out for me. Bullshit. I'm protesting.
There you go. See how they get their people?
Yeah.
he gets them all riled up. Hell, us Republicans are like, oh hell, Trump's got it. He'll take care of it. Don't worry. He'll call them all a bunch of this and that.
Yeah.
Put
Bunch
them
of
in their,
morons.
put them
I
in
mean,
their place. And,
Yeah. That's crazy. I just don't get it.
I don't
really-
either. I don't either. But
I really don't get it at all. So I don't know. Yeah, that's a CNN one.
and what was the purpose of Cory Booker the other day?
What did that moron do?
I don't know. He was up preaching for like 25 hours straight or something.
Oh, it must have been a filibuster.
Yeah, and it was.
Yeah, had to be a filibuster. Here's Howley talking about.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thanks to all of the witnesses for being here. Let's just start by talking about the need to be here today and the fact that what we are seeing happen in district courts is, historically speaking, really unprecedented until recent years and completely out of sync with our constitutional system. You alluded to this, Mr. Panuccio, the way that our founders designed our constitutional system. Mr. Bray, Professor Bray, let me just start with you. According to your scholarship, when's the first time that a district court issued a universal, non-party injunction of the kind that we're talking about today?
I think the first one is 1963. There is historical debate about when they started in the 20th century, but I think that would be the first one. But they certainly are not traditional in equity before then, and they were a peripheral backwater until 2015.
So 1963, so the Republic is 200 years old almost by the time we get the first district court issuing a universal injunction binding parties who were not before it. And even then, as you just alluded to, then there's this period of quiet where they're really not issued until the 21st century, until the 20-teens. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then we see this explosion, as you can see in the chart behind me. In the Bush years, Bush 43, we have 6 universal injunctions, binding non-parties. In the Obama years, we have 12. You referenced one of those cases, Professor Bray, in your opening statement, your written statement. And then under Trump in his first administration, 64 universal injunctions, binding non-parties, 14 under Biden, and now 15 under the second Trump administration in 1 month alone. Mr. Panuccio, let me just come to you. Tell us why this pattern that we're seeing here, and there's a clear partisan valence to it, but there's even more of a recency valence. I mean, this is something that just did not happen until very, very recently. Why is this so distortive to our federal system?
Well, thank you, Senator. It's distortive because it has judges operating outside their constitutional role. They are exerting policy-making power over the whole country. And the issue is this. We are a republic. Those who get to exercise policy-making power, like yourself, like this body, have to face the electorate every 6 years, 2 years, 4 years, whatever it is. Judges do not. We gave them life tenure so that they could be insulated and make decisions without fear or favor. But we limited the judicial power to cases and controversies, just the party before them. And in my written testimony, I note that Hamilton said it's the least dangerous branch, but he had a caveat. Only if they exercise the judicial power. If they range beyond it, then it can be the most dangerous branch. And the public's confidence will be undermined because they have no chance to get rid of these judges because they have life tenure. They don't want to be ruled by kings. They want to be ruled in a republic where they have a vote.
And here's my concern is that this pattern of, I think, abuse, this pattern of out-of-control behavior that we're seeing that's illustrated on the graph that's behind me is not decelerating, it's accelerating. And now we're seeing it not just with injunctive relief, we're seeing it in other orders, other procedural forms that are deliberately designed to insulate the judges, the district courts, from appellate review. Temporary restraining orders. You mentioned this, Mr. Panuccio. All of a sudden, we've seen a huge uptick in just the last few weeks in district courts issuing what looks a heck of a lot like a nationwide non-party injunction, but it's styled as a temporary restraining order. Now, Mr. Panuccio, if I were a judge who wanted to insulate myself from review, why might I choose the temporary restraining order vehicle to do it? Why is this happening?
Because, Senator, under current precedent, TROs, temporary restraining orders, are not immediately reviewable, unlike a preliminary injunction. So if you are a judge who believes a policy is unlawful and you want to exert power nationwide and you don't want anyone to review, the voters certainly won't. The only people who can do it are appellate judges. So you issue a TRO, then you extend it for another 2 weeks, and for at least a month, you can't be touched by the appellate courts.
And has this happened in the last few weeks?
It has been happening. We've seen straying beyond the typical preliminary injunction to TROs and other what are being called administrative stays, which also appear to be unreviewable.
So here, I think, is the issue that's before us. In one sense, it's entirely appropriate that we're here today, and it's entirely predictable given the urgency of this situation. In another sense, it's sort of a wonder we need to have a hearing on this at all, because my Democrat colleagues for the last few years have been decrying the very behavior that we're talking about now. And I think, as you pointed out, Mr. Panuccio, we've had multiple members of the last administration. For example, Joe Biden's Solicitor General Elizabeth Prelogar, she herself said in court, by the way, this wasn't a stray comment to the press, this is her at the Supreme Court, a court of equity may grant relief only to the parties before it. District courts violate this principle by issuing universal injunctions. Elena Kagan, Justice Kagan, it can't be right that one district court judge stop a nationwide policy in its tracks and leave it stopped for years while it goes through what is otherwise the normal process. I would just say to my Democrat colleagues, it shouldn't be, to quote the chairman, that one thing, or to quote the ranking member, that it's one rule for Democrats, it's one rule for Republicans. Let's make it one rule across the board that no matter who appoints you, a judge can.
So hit the mark. But
there again,
it's amazing. It does make a lot of sense. And I like that other guy talking.
Right.
He explained it pretty well.
Right.
Of what, it wasn't a lot of mumbo jumbo.
Right.
I mean, these judges, they're not elected, right? They are appointed, and they have lifetime jobs.
Yeah.
Is that how?
Yep.
That it just doesn't seem right. Why aren't they elected by the people?
I don't know. Well, like he said, so that they can make decisions without being, okay, you helped this Republican out, so now we're going to throw you out or get you reelected, not get you reelected.
Everybody should be judged on their decisions when you're in Congress,
And
like
how
everybody are elected.
I like what he said there about the TROs. temporary restraining orders.
Insurers, yeah.
Yeah, that the judge can say, okay, I'm putting a TRO on it, and the public doesn't see why did you do that for a month.
For a month.
And
Yes.
then all he has to do is say, okay, dropping it,
Drop.
and it still doesn't get out to the public.
Exactly.
Of what was your decision? Why did you do
Do
that?
Exactly.
So there's no consequence or
Was-
anything on the
Ain't that
judge.
something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That is
Yeah,
something. That's a hell of a way to run things. I'll
Isn't
tell you
it?
that, Thomas.
And it's a
really
hell of
is.
a way to put into the minds of everyone that rule of law.
Well, that's what they fall back on all the time.
Rule of
It's
law.
the rule of law.
No
Yes.
one is above the rule of
Of
law.
Yes.
You
Not
know,
even the president.
not
Remember,
even
you
the
heard that
president.
enough times
Right,
when Trump was on trial.
right.
You know.
But Nancy, you get to insider trading to where the law says that I can't do it. We're not talking about that right now. Nonsense. Nonsense. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like listening to these guys.
Yeah.
Because they make it very clear, and I understand. A lot of times it's mumbo jumbo stuff, but that's pretty cut dry.
He
You know.
he either said 15 or 16 in 1 month. That I think the month of February injunctions on President Trump.
That's something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wow. The hate.
And you are
runs
right.
rampant.
I mean, they're right. Okay. So as a individual that has been living in the United States since the day I was born, and going through this, and then starting to get into politics, yeah, this kind of crap, injunction crap, you never heard
Never really heard it.
anything about
Of course,
it, especially
nothing went on before '63.
right.
I mean, or even how many before the turn of the century? 24, 27, something like
yeah.
that. So it literally wasn't something on the radar. Now all of a sudden, 2 months into Trump's presidency,
Well, now-
second term, he's already up to 60-something or something. I
yeah,
mean, it's just
his first term was 64.
yeah.
His
So
first term,
yeah.
64 of them.
so you have to start
So-
questioning what's going on here.
Why are you judges taking the law into your own hands? Why? Because a Democrat is not right. They can say all they want to. Well, Trump is breaking the law. No, Joe Biden broke the law and was no
Nothing
injunction.
happened.
No injunction
see,
on him.
the
Breaking the law,
Democrats-
the Constitution, everything.
The Democrats have now found a way to fight Trump, to stop what he's doing.
That's
Basically, that's what they're doing.
Right.
This is their angle, how to do this, and
Right.
this lifetime shit's
Well,
got
and
this lifetime shit's got to
Howley
stop.
there,
I'll tell you that right now.
I really like him too, but there
I do too,
again,
yeah.
when the rubber meets the road, him just like the guy sitting next to him. Whoop, okay, not going to.
They should push
Not
it.
going to
They
push
should.
us.
They should.
No.
They should put
We
the
tried.
hammer down.
Republican people out there, we tried. We
Yeah.
talked. You heard us talk. Boy, I had big language, big angry language.
Well, Tom,
Didn't
you
do
know,
anything about it. But
as long as they're breathing,
yeah,
as long as they want to run, Cruz and Hawley,
Yep.
they're going to have Durbin-like numbers. Okay,
Right.
I mean they're going to get elected all the time. Let's face it.
right.
I mean, unless something really wacky happens, but they step out of line.
And that's the thing, though, and that's what they know. They know that if they step out of line, Republicans will replace them.
Yeah.
Democrats don't worry about that
No.
shit. You know,
No, but
it's like all this Doge spending stuff going on. You think that there's not Republicans that are like, oh God bless it, they're going to hit my.
oh sure,
Oh,
you know they are. Yeah, I hope they.
I just want to get out there and say, don't stop, Elon, stop. But I'm not, because my Democratic buddies who will get reelected, though they're doing the stupid crap, they'll get reelected. I won't. I got to sit back.
Got to sit. Yep. Yeah.
Chuck,
Exactly.
Chuck, look, get him to stop that.
Get
That's
him-
mine. That's mine.
That's mine. He's got my
That's
stuff.
my playhouse.
Yeah, he's cutting into my stuff now. What the hell's going on here?
If I speak up and say anything, I'm done. I won't get reelected. But
Exactly.
you, Chuck,
Yeah, you'll be here forever. Come on, you got to say something for me.
Chuck,
But,
please, man.
oh yeah.
AOC, they're used to you saying stupid shit. Go ahead, stop him.
I love listening to her. I mean, she's entertaining as hell.
She's
Now,
about like Kamala. You
well, she
just-
is. She's a little
you-
bit got a
you-
little bit of Kamala in her, but the other one's a total nut.
Oh yeah.
Not Davy, but the other Crockett lady.
Yes.
Crockett lady. Oh, she's off the deep end. Wow.
And that's the way you do it. Zig.
Oh,
you
my
want
God.
a name for yourself. You get out and act stupid.
and just
like
act
these
stupid.
people.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
she's-
just say stupid
she's
shit.
Damn dog shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, I
Yeah.
hope people see through that stuff, but
Right.
it's and even Bernie starts to make sense every now and then. I'm getting more like it to listen to what they have to say.
They're just. I mean, it's a sad day in
Oh,
America.
shit.
I mean, it
Don't
really
you love
is.
politics? My God, I didn't give a damn about this shit when I was in high school. But boy, I'll
No.
tell you what, it's fun now.
It is. Let's see what Mr. Kennedy
Mr.
has to
Shoemake,
say.
what's a
Shit.
universal injunction?
Senator, a universal injunction is what we call an order from a court enjoining the government in a way that goes beyond the parties to the case, but applies nationwide or in some cases universally to enjoin the government.
Is it sometimes referred to as a nationwide injunction?
Yes, it is, Senator.
Okay. What's the statutory basis for a federal judge issuing an order that affects people other than the parties before the court?
I'm not aware of a statutory basis, Senator.
There is no statutory basis, is there?
No, Senator.
What's the United States Supreme Court opinion which interprets the Constitution in a way that allows a federal district court judge to do this? Can you name me that case?
I'm not aware of one, Senator.
There isn't one, is there?
I'm not aware of one, Senator.
Now, explain to me how this works. You have a plaintiff and you have a defendant, and the plaintiff files a lawsuit and goes in front of a federal judge. Federal judge has certain jurisdiction in personam and subject matter over the parties, the people, the plaintiff and the defendant. They're the only two people in court. How can a judge, a federal judge, issue an order that affects everybody else other than those in front of him or her? How is that possible?
It shouldn't be possible, Senator, but district courts do it all the time. I think on the theory that the courts need to enjoin a federal policy from going into effect, and they often will enjoin it as nationwide, so all non-parties are protected by that injunction.
I thought that if you wanted to affect parties who aren't in court, you had to file a class action.
That's correct, Senator.
So why don't the federal judges, instead of issuing a universal injunction with no legal basis, tell the plaintiff, look, you got to go file a class action if you want to impact parties who aren't subject to my court?
Senator, the Department of Justice makes that argument all the time in our briefs. I think in many cases class actions would be inappropriate. They wouldn't. The plaintiffs couldn't satisfy Rule 23 to establish a class.
So they couldn't.
Correct.
So they preferred to ask for a universal injunction.
Yes.
Okay. Does this encourage forum shopping?
Yes, Senator. Not only does it encourage forum shopping, but also district shopping and filing multiple strategic lawsuits to find one judge that will enjoin a single policy nationwide. Where if you have 5 lawsuits, a plaintiff, only one of those 5 cases needs to be successful.
And both sides, all sides, have used this as a way to forum shop, haven't they?
I think plaintiffs, regardless of administrations, will often file cases in the most favorable forum. Yes.
Okay, we've established that there's no basis in statute and no basis in Supreme Court precedent for a universal injunction. How about in common law? I mean, universal injunction is basically an equitable remedy. Did this exist in common law courts in England on which our law is based?
I don't believe so, Senator. I think the government has cited cases from the Supreme Court that says, courts are really bound by the scope of relief that a court in equity would have granted back in England before the founding, and the courts at that time would grant relief to the parties in the case, not far beyond the.
A universal injunction as a remedy is unknown in English common law, is it not?
I haven't done the research that far back, but I'm not aware of.
I have. Okay. It's unknown. Wasn't part of equity. Only about 27 universal injunctions were issued in the 20th century. Does that sound about right?
That sounds about right, Senator.
But 86 of them were issued against President Trump in his first term. Is that correct?
I don't know the specific number, but they were a high number.
And so far in President Trump's second term, 30 universal injunctions have been issued against him. Have they not?
Senator, I don't have a specific number, but that sounds about right.
The universal injunction has become a weapon against the Trump administration, has it not?
Yes.
And tell me again in my last 10 seconds, tell me the basis for universal injunction in Article 3. I read Article 3, which defines judicial power. Where does it mention universal injunction?
It does not, Senator. It says courts are to decide the case or controversy before them, which is based on the parties to the case.
So the Congress could act and say, look, federal judges, you render a decision to a plaintiff or a defendant, but you can't impact people outside of your courtroom other than through a class action. That's why God created class actions, isn't it?
Yes, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Wow.
Okay, if Congress can change that, then why don't they? Don't the Republicans have the
They have
House
the
and
majority.
Senate have the majority?
Yeah.
Or they can't get the majority to do that?
No,
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Well, I'm sure.
If they can, yeah, this is alarming to hear some of this stuff that I'm hearing. I can be honest with you.
Right.
You know.
But you have to also go and say, well, look at the 6 or 7 rhinos on the Senate
Well,
side.
that's the problem.
Yeah.
That is a problem.
Yeah.
I agree. But how can you be for this? That I don't understand.
And
I mean, that's
okay.
if you're for it, you're just like they said, they're using it as a weapon to stop Trump. That's
Right.
exactly what they're doing.
Well, and then they call rule of law.
Yeah.
So if what he
And they're
just
not
said,
lying. I mean, that's true. I mean, that's what the
Well,
law.
no, that court system is stepping over the line.
over their line, or they're over
Donald
their
Trump should
jurisdiction.
just
Well, he basically did what he didn't turn around the airplane. What
well,
was that
the
a
time
couple
and
weeks
the
ago?
written and the
Yeah.
verbal, and those were already taken off. The third one was taken off because it wasn't under that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He should write today say, I am invoking that 1798 law.
No.
These guys are going, and they're going. Well, you can't do. There you.
Yeah.
You are overstepping your
Bounds. Yeah,
and just
that's something.
yeah. You want the judicial system to go in an uproar. What you do?
Yeah. Good.
That's.
I wish you
I,
would.
I hope.
I wish
boy,
you
I
would.
do too. I do too. Say now, you guys know your fucking role.
Yeah.
Your role isn't to come and say undercut the president, and until they get that through their fucking thick heads, they're going to keep doing
it. Sure they are.
Just
sure, and I don't blame them.
Right.
I would too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because our side isn't smart enough to come up with something. We don't have activists. We're all working.
And we'll still be working.
Yeah.
We don't have time.
Yeah, we're working. We don't have time to go protest.
We have time to march the streets
noon,
and
on a Monday morning.
Protest and burn anything. And, circle. And, yeah.
Ain't got no billionaires or millionaires to pay people to go protest for the Republican
ours
cause.
are still working. Yes, that's how they became
We're
billionaires.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Bless our hearts.
Very eye-opening
Yeah,
today,
yeah.
Thomas. I'll tell you what. Yeah,
Ain't
I
it?
learned a lot today.
Knowing
I
that
really
the
did.
judicial system is, no one's above the law, but by God, these judges
Judges
are.
are
Yeah, they can
low-level
stop.
judges.
Yes.
On top of that, I
Right.
mean, it's just
President Trump, all them people that you fired, you got to bring back. They got a judge doing that now.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is find a judge that'll do that. I
Go
mean,
out shopping. Yeah. Go out shopping.
oh my God.
Because there's 700 to choose from. And I don't think a fucking one of them is Republican. Because we couldn't find them. We couldn't find them when Joe was bringing all the illegals in.
To stop it, but yes. Oh my God.
Ain't that funny? And the
Man.
Republican Party wonders what the hell is going on. Like I said, they can't get on Doge's ass about the cuts that they want to do
Right.
to their perks.
Yeah.
Because they know they'll be out. They'll be out. But you Democrats just go ahead.
Wow.
Bitch and moan and groan about
That's
it.
something.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just it's shocking to think that this is happening, and that the left doesn't say wait a minute, this ain't right, and the right doesn't have the balls to stand up and say no, this isn't
This ain't
right.
right.
Yeah.
Well, the left ain't going to stand up and say it.
No.
There's so much hate for Trump.
It's
It's
scary.
amazing.
ain't it?
It's scary. It is.
It is.
You know.
We will break the law to say you can't break the law, Donald.
That's right.
We're going to overstep our boundaries to say you can't break the law while we're breaking the law telling you you can't break the law.
Did you follow along with that, kids? Yeah. That's
Thank you, Chairwoman
Okay.
Green, and I apologize. I'm getting over a cold, so I'm losing my voice here. Ms. Marr, I want to start with you. Just generally, would you say you generally agree or disagree with the following statement? The history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggles?
I would not say I agree with that, sir.
That's good to hear. It's interesting because a lot of your thinking, as expressed by your public statements, is deeply infused with economic and cultural Marxism. Do you believe that America is addicted to white supremacy?
I believe that I tweeted that, and as I've said earlier, I believe much of my thinking has evolved over the last half decade.
It has evolved. Why did you tweet that?
I don't recall the exact context, sir, so I wouldn't be able to say.
Okay. Do you believe that America believes in black plunder and white democracy?
I don't believe that, sir.
You
Don't know where
tweeted
statement
that in
comes from.
reference to a book you were reading at the time, apparently, The Case for Reparations.
I don't think I've ever read that book, sir.
You tweeted about it. You said you took a day
hate it
off
when
to
you
fully
catch
read
me.
The Case for Reparations. You put that on Twitter in January of 2020.
oh boy.
Apologies, I don't recall that I did.
Okay.
I'd no doubt that your tweet there is correct, but I don't recall.
What's your
Okay.
tweet?
Do you believe
Not
that
his
white
tweet, it's
people
your
inherently
tweet.
feel superior to other races?
I do not.
You don't. You tweeted something to that effect. You said, I grew up feeling superior. Ha, how white of me. Why did you tweet that?
I think I was probably reflecting on what it was to grow up in an environment where I had lots of advantages.
It sounds like you're saying that white people feel superior.
I don't believe that anybody feels that way, sir. I was just reflecting on my own experiences.
Do you think that white people should pay reparations?
I've never said that, sir.
Yes, you did. You said it in January of 2020. You tweeted,
Yeah,
yes,
caught
the
again.
North, yes, all of us, yes, America, yes, our original collective sin and unpaid debt, yes, reparations, yes, on this day.
Wow.
I don't believe that was a reference to fiscal reparations, sir.
What kind of reparations was it a reference to?
I think it was just a reference to the idea that we all owe much to the people who came before us.
That's a bizarre way to frame what you tweeted. Okay, how much reparations have you personally paid?
Sir, I don't believe that I've ever paid reparations.
Okay, it's just for everybody else.
I'm not asking anyone
Seems
to
to
pay
be what you're
reparations, sir.
suggesting. Do you believe that looting is morally wrong?
I believe that looting is illegal, and I refer to it as counterproductive. I think it should be prosecuted.
Do you
to the
believe
full
it's
extent of the
morally
law.
wrong, though?
Of course.
Of course. Then why did you refer to it as counterproductive? It's a very different way to describe it.
It is both morally wrong and counterproductive, as well as being
You
illegal.
tweeted, "It's hard to be mad about protests," in reference to the BLM protests, not prioritizing the private property of a system of oppression. You didn't condemn the looting. You said that it was counterproductive. NPR also promoted a book called In Defense of Looting. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars?
I'm unfamiliar with that book, sir, and I don't believe that was at my
You
time at
tweeted
NPR.
that you read that book, but
I don't believe that I did
Oh,
read that book,
shit.
sir.
do you think that a few years ago, NPR educated America about, quote, the whole community of genderqueer dinosaur enthusiasts? Do you think that that's an appropriate use of tax dollars?
I was not at NPR at the time, sir.
That's not the question, though. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of our tax dollars?
I think our tax dollars that we use are to be able to provide a wide range of
So I'll
perspectives.
take that as a yes. You do believe that that's appropriate. Your health advisor at NPR also stated in an interview that, quote, fear of fatness is more harmful than actual fat. Would you like to explain how fear of fatness is more harmful than actual fat? That's an editorial at NPR.
I am not familiar with the editorial, and I don't believe that was published during my time here.
It's called Diet Culture is Everywhere. Here's how to fight it. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars?
I think any reporting on health is an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars, yes.
And you think that editorializing that fat is not unhealthy is appropriate?
I don't know what that article is, sir, and I'm not familiar with it, so I
This
couldn't
is
say.
fake news. Do you think that basic accommodations like doorways or seat belts represent, quote, latent fat phobia?
I don't have an opinion.
That's
on that,
also
sir.
from NPR. Do you think civility is racist?
No, sir.
No. Your outlet ran an article entitled, quote, when civility is used as a cudgel against people of color. That was on All Things Considered. Would you like to explain?
I'm not on the editorial side, sir. I'm not familiar with that story.
You talk about how NPR is news. This is editorialization, and I'll read it. For many people of color in the United States, civility isn't so much social lubricant as it is a vehicle for containing them, preventing social mobility, and preserving the status quo. This is garbage. I'll spend all of my time doing everything I can to ensure you guys never get another dollar of taxpayer funding. This is complete garbage. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Right there, though, I was going to say before this video started that you're going to see her have a come to Jesus
moment.
Yeah. Everything that I meant back in, okay, last 5 years
I've evolved. I've evolved since
I didn't
then.
mean those. I didn't mean none of that.
I'm gonna have to remember that when I get caught someday.
Yeah.
Somebody comes up to me and says, "Jose, you said that 5 years ago." I've evolved.
Yeah,
since then. Okay, you know, in my thinking, and
I'm more mature.
God, I hate it when they catch me. Damn, right in print and everything. Well, it says it right here. Shit, caught again. Damn it.
2 books that she said she read that comes to find out she didn't.
Yeah. I just, oh my God, that's.
Yeah.
What time we ever get in trouble and we get called up in front of Congress and all this? Well, just lie. Just lie. It's
lie.
okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to lie.
Yeah.
What are they going to do to you?
Right.
I mean,
Well, I've grown up senator or representative. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I've grown up. Well, you said this, Tom. You tweeted this, or you
I've
text this.
got it right here. I got it right here. You know, they should have.
Well,
they should have had it up on the board where everybody could see it.
And then what she should have said was, okay, Representative Gill, listen, I never thought that the Republicans were going to win back the White House. That's why I said all that stupid shit. And I didn't think that Donald Trump was going to get back in, or I never would have said that stupid shit. That's what she should have said.
Well, at least she'd been honest.
I meant everything that I said.
Okay, yeah.
But I didn't think the reason why I said it and was so bluntly honest.
Madam Chair, Ms. Maher, who is Uri Berliner?
Mr. Berliner is a former senior editor.
That's all?
A former senior business editor for NPR.
How long do you work at NPR?
I believe he was there just over 25 years.
25 years? Award-winning journalist? Did he win any awards?
Our time did not
Peabody
overlap.
Award? That's pretty important, isn't it?
That is,
So
absolutely.
pretty distinguished journalist, right?
Certainly.
And he wrote a long story about what you do at NPR. Is NPR biased?
Congressman, I have never seen any instance of...
Never?
of political bias determining editorial decisions. No.
Well, Mr.
You're laughing
Berliner, in his story last year, wrote, in the D.C. area, editorial positions at NPR, he said he found 87 registered Democrats, 0 Republicans. Is that accurate?
We do not track the numbers or the voter registration, but I find that
Was award-winning journalist who worked 25 years at NPR, Mr. Berliner, was he lying when he wrote that?
I am not presuming such. I just we don't track that information about our journalists.
87 to 0, and you're not biased.
I think that is concerning if those numbers are accurate.
It's concerning. I mean, it wasn't 44-43. It wasn't 60-27. It wasn't 70-17. It wasn't even 80-7. It was 87 Democrats, 0 Republicans, and you say NPR is not biased. How about the big stories over the last few years? According to Mr. Berliner, again, he wrote on the Trump-Russia story, he wrote, at NPR, we hitched our wagon to Trump's most visible antagonist, Representative Adam Schiff. He said they interviewed him 25 times. Is that accurate?
I was not there at the time, but those numbers sound accurate. Yes.
Those sound accurate. But then he said when the Mueller report came out and Robert Mueller said he found no evidence of collusion, he said Russiagate faded from our programming. Is that accurate?
Again, I was not there at the time. I couldn't say.
You couldn't say?
I was not at NPR at the time.
You didn't prepare for that? You knew we were going to ask you about this guy, didn't you? It's come up like 6,000 times already in the hearing.
I just couldn't say whether it faded from our coverage, sir.
How about this story? October 2020, the New York Post had the Hunter Biden laptop story, and one of those editors, I guess one of those 87 Democrat editors, said this: we don't want to waste our time on stories that are not really stories. We don't want to waste the listeners' and readers' times on stories that are just pure distractions. Was that a pure distraction story?
Our current editorial leadership believes that that was a mistake, as do I.
Yeah, the whole country knows that was a mistake. Definitely impacted the election.
Jesus
or I
moment.
think it certainly impacted the election. How about the COVID origin story? That's a pretty big story too, right? Mr. Berliner said, we became fervent members of the team Natural Origin, even declaring that the lab leak was debunked by scientists. Turns out, though, the lab leak is what most people think actually caused the COVID virus.
Sorry, is there a question there?
There is. You guys were 0 for 3 on the three of the biggest stories in the last 5 years. You guys were 0 for 3, and yet you maintain that NPR is not biased?
Congressman, I do not believe we are politically biased. No, we are a nonpartisan organization.
Nonpartisan organization. What's happening to your listeners over the last 5 years? Went up, down, or stayed the same?
It has gone up and down and is now going back up.
Well, I thought 5 years ago it was at 60 million. And you said in your opening statement, I think, 43 million.
That's correct.
So 43 million now, and it was at 60 million 5 years ago. I can do some math. That looks like it went down.
And is now going back up.
It's now going back up?
Yes, it is.
How much has it went back up?
It's gone up a couple of millions over the past years.
So you went from 60 million to 41 million. Now you're back up to 43 million.
In a year's time, I'm very proud of that growth, sir.
Okay, you're proud of that growth. Okay. But over 5 years, it's went down 18 million.
That is correct, sir.
Okay. Should taxpayers subsidize NPR?
I believe that taxpayers subsidize local stations, sir. That is the vast majority of what.
Well, I thought you said you got 11 million from Corporation of Public Broadcasting, which is taxpayer funded directly to you, right?
That is to support the public.
And then local stations get it from the Corporation of Public Broadcasting, right? They get taxpayer money.
100 million that goes to the local.
100 million goes to local stations, and then those local stations buy back programming and content from you. So that money goes to the local stations, comes back to you, gets routed through the local stations, all taxpayer money.
Those fees are actually based on private donations rather than on federal funding.
Well, we all know money's fungible, so some of it gets put in there.
Certainly, we could agree that money is fungible.
What? More money for less listeners. You fired the guy who pointed all this out, who said that you were so biased to the left that you lost listeners, which is exactly happening, and you're here maintaining that, you need to continue to get taxpayer money.
I did not fire Mr. Berliner, sir.
Okay, the guy that left after all that. Understand. Are you fundraising off today's hearing?
Sir, I believe that there was a message that went out earlier today letting people know we were coming in. Yes.
Yeah, and at the bottom of the message it said, donate now, right?
I don't recall the exact language.
I can show it to you. Right there it is. Donate now. I mean, I'm not against fundraising. We all do it. I mean, I get it. But it's I assume this fund.
So, yeah, there was a couple of things. If people give donations to, then why didn't Jordan sit there and just say, well, then you don't need taxpayer money,
Right. Exactly.
so you don't need our money.
Yeah.
If everything that all the dishing out goes from public or private donors, then you don't. Why would you need ours? But there again, come to Jesus moment. Yeah, we realized that we shouldn't have said that about Hunter's laptop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything that was that the Democrats were pushing out, that they stuck with. But we're not biased. And I like the way she answered that one. We do not track our employees' voters,
Oh yeah.
who they vote for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you and I are, I'm NPR, and you are you're an employee, a guy wanting to come to work for
Mm-hmm.
or NPR. Mr. Zig, who you registered to vote for? Who are you registered to vote? Who do you like, or who are you registered to vote for? Who? I mean, so I mean, and that's a question that they're not going to ask you.
No.
They're not going to ask you. So yeah, they don't go through that, or they don't ask those questions.
Right.
But Zig, you want a job here at NPR? What's your thoughts about Donald Trump?
Exactly. And then they hear
How
my thoughts.
did you vote for Donald Trump? You did?
Sure.
Thanks
Yeah.
for the interview. We'll get back with you.
We'll get back with you.
Yeah,
That's
we'll get
the
back
last
with
you'll hear from them.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. So
Because it's 87-0, Tom. For a reason,
87 to
buddy.
0. Yeah. Yeah. And the one guy that pointed it out, he's gone.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah.
I didn't fire him.
Yeah. I didn't fire him. No.
She wanted to make that point. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just.
So,
oh my God.
but yeah, it's
great.
and I don't know why Hallie didn't, or I'm sorry, Jordan didn't say, well, no, you're not going to ask a person, interviewer, what political side do you vote for, and in fact, I think that's against the law.
Might be. Yeah.
Yeah, but to bait them and say, what's your thoughts about
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump? How you feel about him? Oh, I hate that son of a bitch. Well, good. Congratulations.
We got a spot for you.
Yes, you are. We got good news for you.
We'll get right back to you.
Yes. Yeah.
I know it.
So,
oh man.
But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, we are living in very, very interesting times, and the sad thing about it is that there's no good guy with a white hat on our side coming in and saving the day. They're just going to play it out because they know that if Republican stands up, then they're going to get ousted. They won't get reelected.
Yeah.
To where Democrats, doesn't matter what stupid shit they come up with, they could come up with anything.
Oh yeah, we can name a list of them that have been reelected.
Reelected
time and time again.
Nancy Pelosi. My God.
Adam
Have
Schiff. Adam Schiff. Dick
Adam
Durbin.
Schiff gets
Tammy,
a promotion.
I mean, yeah, you can go down the list
And
people turn their head the other way. Great man. He must be a great man. I know him.
Right.
And what's he done? You could ask him, well,
lied
about what happened.
Lied about all of the Russia collusion.
Well, they all lie. Even the Republicans lie too. So you're gonna.
Yeah.
I don't care if he lies.
Yeah. That's why I say the founding fathers would just.
Yep. Oh my God.
They would die if they could see the way the country. I don't think they envisioned politics being able to go down the road that they are going on.
Yeah.
And people would keep electing them. That's the thing.
Well, yeah.
Because had they had known that this stupid shit was going to happen, you could bet your ass there would have been term limits in. They would have had term
all the time.
limits. But they had faith. They said the American people.
We give the power to the people,
People.
and they will, if they
Yeah.
don't like what's going on, they will
Right.
change it.
Right.
It's not really happening.
Right. No.
But
No.
you're right. They should have put term limits in everything.
In everything.
Everything. Good or
Everything.
bad. If you're good,
Yeah.
sorry. You know what? Another next guy up.
Yep.
Next girl up. Whatever.
Yeah, because right now, what Congress has done over the years, involved into, is that they have come away and they have said, okay, we want fundraising, we want to be able to get money, get reelected. So therefore, it doesn't matter if we don't want it from outside the country.
Right.
Okay, now we do. So we'll let George Soros. Yeah. So that law or that rule, we just kick that out. In the states, why is Jim Tuckenberry down in fucking Alabama sending money up to a judge for Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah.
What does he have to gain from it? So, and that's another way that these guys are coming out millionaires afterwards. I mean, they say that money goes back into the general fund, but come on.
Yeah. I think we know better.
If that was the case, then why do they have to fundraiser every fucking year?
Good point. There's a good point. Yeah.
If all that money that these guys accumulate over the year in fundraising, and then they say, okay, I'm not running this year, okay, so we got to go get more money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
We shouldn't have all that money's going.
Good point. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just, I mean, America. I mean, the founding fathers would have put term limits in had they had known that the American people were going to be so stupid.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you would have thought. I mean, they would have thought that if I go out and I do something as a politician and I lie to the people and the people know that I've lied, then they're not going to reelect that person. He's done.
Tom, that makes common sense. You would think that. But, I mean, like you said, our founding fathers never thought that
the American people were going to be so stupid.
And never thought there would be career politicians.
Right.
Never probably thought, well, you'll be in there 30, 40.
Yeah.
So you can't stand no more.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure they would be shocked by that and go,
what?
What? Well, we would have done something about that if we thought the American people weren't going to smarten up and, And I just think she had term limits anyway. I think she should have new blood in there all the time.
Right.
Well,
it stops the corruption.
Exactly.
The only difference is that now these guys they get reelected, and now they've come up with different ways to benefit themselves, and they come up with all this stuff, and now ins and outs of the law.
Well, there's nothing like experience, Tom. There's nothing like experience when you were in there.
Yeah.
If you got elected tomorrow, you'd be like,
right,
bug-eyed and like, okay, what am I doing? If you're in there 10 years, you're like, this is old hat. I know where to go first, second, third to get things done.
Right. All right, Mr. Zig. I guess, do you have anything that you would like to add, or?
No, but